Here we go. How about that?
No.
All right. We'll try to get old school. Old school, that's right. Wrapping up today's practice for the Iowa IndyCar race weekend here at Iowa Speedway. Scott McLaughlin driving number 3, Expel, Team Penske Chevrolet. 3 straight top 5s here at Iowa Speedway, set to make his 5th and 6th start here this coming weekend. Top speed 185.9. Scott Dixon also joins us top speed of 183.6. Driving number 9, PNC Bank. Chip Ganassi Racing Honda tomorrow will be his 20th start here at Iowa Speedway. 4 podiums here, best finish second in 2019 and 2020. Scotty Mack, lead us off, and your thoughts on the practice here today.
Yeah, from the start, the cars. Can I use that?
Yeah, good try.
Oh, yeah. No one wants to Yeah, from the start. Jeez, I have to eat this thing.
That's it, you're good. You don't want that. There you go.
Yeah, from the start, the car was pretty good off the truck. We had to make a couple of little changes to with the downforce level and the tyre itself that we changed to for this race. But ultimately, the car was pretty solid. I knew we had pace in us. I was sort of building up to the run and got a clean enough run compared to most, I think, to put a good lap up. But overall good start. And then I was testing a couple of things off turn 4 and the last sort of bit of the practice session and got caught up in the marbles. So that's going to prove difficult. Throughout the weekend, I think for everyone. But it sort of is what it is. Just to deal with it.
And Scott, thanks for coming in. I know it's kind of a long weekend, busy weekend for you. Just your thoughts on that practice session?
Yeah, not too bad. We kind of, similar kind of thing. We only did one cold sim and didn't do a very good job of it. The car's definitely got good speed. We ran the same lap time on the second run with it. So that bodes well. Looks like the 10 had a good run too, so we can look at that. The highlight practice was kind of good. I thought the lane was coming in, but I think once you get kind of 20, 30 laps on the bottom, it disappears pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting to see how how that plays out in the race. But all in all, not a bad day. Had a little bit of a mishap there with Canapino. I thought it was Grosjean. He was pitted in front of me, and so we had a little bit of a touch there.
Sorry, made it interesting there at the end.
Yeah, not so bad. It wasn't good.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. Just kind of feel free to yell it out, and we'll try to transcribe at the same time. Go ahead, Bruce, and then Joey.
So how much leeway do you have between the newly paved area and where it gets really slick?
Well, you're on the newly paved the whole way. You don't really need to go all the way up to the old line. But ultimately, like Scotty said, I think when I first ran the highline practice, I was like, oh, this is really good. It's working really good. And then, ultimately, the bottom is probably the preferred line for everyone. It's the most grippy, most run-in so far. And then once you get sort of 30, 40, 50 laps on that, the marbles get pretty big and whatnot. And the line up above in the second lane gets smaller and smaller. And ultimately, I just tried something at the end of the session, and I was maybe half a lane up and basically fenced it. So.
Improving range and
so it is what it is, but just gonna have to deal with it. I think it's gonna change throughout the race, so you might be able to use it at the start of the race. But it's what it is.
Joey, you want to go on out?
I didn't want to speak to that, honestly. I guess for both of you guys, just because of what y'all were talking about with the high line, do you anticipate this being used strictly on restarts for the rest of this weekend, or do you think this is something that can come in once we come into Sunday?
I think it's going to be pretty tough to use it. Like maybe on the start, it just depends. Like if everybody started to use it immediately, then it might come in. But I just there's too much of a difference right now. Like if they did another highline practice maybe before the race, that would help again. But I don't know how keen anybody is on doing that. I think for the sake of making it a good race, that's probably a good option. But when you get the whole field just pounding around on the bottom, then the highlights are going to come in much. And then as soon as you get the marbles that are up there, then it's just even worse.
Just as a small follow-up to that, is obviously the last time we did a highline practice was at Texas a couple years ago. How is this a little bit different than that?
Probably pretty similar, to be honest. Same in St. Louis as well. Oh, it's working now. There we go.
Any other questions? Nathan?
Scott Dixon, as you guys were preparing for this week, did you get any sort of clarification on what happened to your car and the hybrid unit during the pace laps at Mid-Ohio?
Yeah, kind of. I think there's a few different, well, not really a few different scenarios, but yeah, it just got into a parameter that it didn't like, and it stopped the engine. Which you needed to charge the capacitor, which, you know, the last thing you wanted to do is turn off the only thing that can charge it, and it did. So I think there'll be some things down the road that will, you know, change that. Yeah, it was kind of weird. We didn't expect it just for the sheer fact that we had tested a lot of that stuff in pre-season testing, and then also even in Milwaukee when we'd done that. But it was a parameter that kind of got that it hit, and then it just kind of got for it just did a runaway. There was no time to try and fix it.
So would you characterize it as something that you guys as a team had control of? Was it a technical, mechanical glitch? Like, how would you describe?
Some of the settings I think are open to the teams and manufacturers on how you want to do, regen or deploy and things like that. I would say we were maybe slightly different, but honestly, until it happened, I don't think anybody knew that it was a fault. So, yeah, it was just, I think it could have happened to a lot of cars. It would have happened to 3 of my teammates had it been a second different as well. So, it's interesting. But, yeah.
Philip?
So Scott McLaughlin, first of all, did the wind affect you at all in your spin in 4?
Oh no, it's just a pure driver problem. But yeah, the wind is stronger than we had when we tested here. But no, I think it wasn't a major factor today. No.
And then Scott Dixon. So I'm Philip Jones. I work for the Des Moines Register. I think by my count, you're one of the few drivers who will have raced in every race here since 2007. Can you talk a little about how the track has changed over the years as you've come here?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I think from the first few races we had here, it was, you just followed the white line, and it was a big pack race. It was kind of chaotic for a short track, and then we went through a really good period of, the last sort of 10 years where it's been multi-lane and, high dig, and one of the best short track races that we've had. So, obviously now with the kind of the repave and the partial repave that they've done, it's taken away, I think, a lot of our raceability that we had. Maybe it was better for other categories, but yeah, I miss last year's track because I think drivers refer to it as character. It had a lot of character, it had a lot of bumps. It was definitely hard work. Qualifying was very tough. And then obviously you had the use of 2, 3, 4 lanes in the race, especially on restarts and things like that. So we'll see. I hope it gets back to that. Whether it's this weekend is going to be tough to get that second lane to come in, but yeah, it's definitely evolved over the years for sure.
We got time for 1 or 2 more. Go ahead.
Okay. Wyatt Watson with Frontstretch.com. Gentlemen, what do y'all believe the impact of the new hybrid system will be here at Iowa?
I definitely think it's probably not as useful on an oval as it is on a road course, but you still have the ability to use it. We still see a difference when you deploy it in some areas. So it's, I believe people are going to use it in qualifying, people are going to use it in the race. But yeah, it's certainly a lot easier to charge. Probably not a huge difference from a lap time perspective, over 30, 40 laps, but it's there if we need it, which is fun to use.
Yeah, same. There's not much difference. I think ovals, this is probably the lowest kind of power dependent circuit that we go to throughout the season. So, you definitely feel it, and it makes some differences. The amount of energy you get to use here is pretty small. But yeah, it'll make a difference.
Thank you.
Bruce, and then we'll wrap it up. Happy to go ahead, Bruce.
Not much turnaround time between a night race tomorrow night and an early start on Sunday. You guys are racers, so you go out there and you're going to do what you need to do to win the race. But how well prepared do the teams have to be to have an extra car ready to go in case the Saturday night car gets in a crash?
Yeah, it's certainly a tough schedule, going from a night race straight into like a late morning one, but the teams have been prepared for it for a long time. Ultimately, you never want to crash. But obviously, if you do have a shunt on Saturday, it puts a little bit of pressure on them. But every team in pit lane's got some of the best people in the world, so I'm sure it'll be easy to put a car together. You don't want to do it; it's not easy, but it is what it is. But yeah, the commitment's there, and they're ready to go if need be.
Yeah, the same. Like most of the teams are pretty well equipped now. Whether everybody's got a backup car or not, but at least there's communal ones between the groups. So it's you just hope it doesn't happen. That's the big thing.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.